What's up everyone, my name is Mike, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Thor Mjolnir and Stormbreaker dropping on the VeVe platform. Two reasons why I'm really excited about this drop. Let's get into this. Now right off the bat, I don't know if I'm actually even going to go for this drop, but I do have two reasons why I'm really excited for this drop and what this could actually mean and what this does actually mean with VeVe. But before that, let's talk about the additions and compare it to something in the market to be able to make a price prediction for this. Now remember, with my price predictions, it's not necessarily what I exactly think it's going to list for in the market afterwards. This could take a week, maybe days, maybe even hours after the drop to reach, but this is just setting my price in terms of what I'm willing to get in on this in the aftermarket if I have the gems available. And even if this is something that I want to get into, I suggest everybody makes their own price predictions. This is not financial advice. The only other thing that we can really compare this to in the market is the Eye of Agamotto, the Doctor Strange relic that has the time stone in it. And we got the uncommon, the rare, and the ultra rare in that. So only three different versions of it. One closed being the uncommon, one open being the rare, and then the secret rare being the animated version of it, going from closed to open. Now this is really important to note because with Mjolnir we have four different versions of it, and it's a little bit different than the Eye of Agamotto, especially when comparing the editions, which is really important, more important than the rarities. We have two rares of this, each with 3,800 editions, and of course these get the first edition stamps, being that they are an object first appearance. So with the rares we have two different versions. We have the Thor Love and Thunder, again 3,800 editions, list price all of them at 60. And then we have the Thor, the very first movie Mjolnir, very different in terms of the breaking, the cracks on the hammer, and then the tassel at the end of the hammer, and a little bit different decoration on this staff, but each have 3,800 editions with this. And then we have two more versions with the ultra rares, and these are two ultra rares at 2,350 editions, very slightly different. We have Thor the Dark World, which is a clean looking hammer, and then we have Thor Ragnarok, which looks a little bit darker, slightly different tassel and decorations there on the shaft as well, and again 2,350 editions. So two rares, two ultra rares, and then finally we get to the secret rare Stormbreaker, and this has 1,000 editions. Obviously this is the one that everybody's going to want compared with the editions for this. And comparing this to Doctor Strange, the Eye of Agamotto secret rare had 2,110 editions. So looking at this, we might compare that to the ultra rares in this series, and I don't think though that they will reach what the secret rare Eye of Agamotto is going for in the aftermarket at 120 gems right now. I would say that you might get more than 60 gems in the aftermarket, but it might hover around those 60 gems, perhaps 60 to 80 gems for those ultra rares. And then going to the rares and backtracking a little bit here, you can compare those probably closer to the rares of the Eye of Agamotto, even though the Eye of Agamotto has almost double the amount of editions at 6,500 compared to the 3,800 for these rares. Eye of Agamotto rares are going around 20 to 30 gems in the aftermarket. I would expect that Mjolnir is probably going for the same amount. That's just me considering that there's two rares, so 3,800 times 2 is closer to that Eye of Agamotto. Perhaps this will fulfill demand in the market for that, and you'll see that Mjolnir going for that 20 to 30 gem range for these rares. And backtracking a little bit there, those ultra rares times 2 maybe closer to below retail for this. I know that's quite a big range, but we just all don't know what's going to happen in the aftermarket for these. These are just my price predictions that I'm setting that I might get actually into if I find them on the aftermarket for the right edition number, the mint number, as well as price. But then we get the secret rare non-animated version of Stormbreaker. Maybe they will give us some sort of surprise animation with this, but I'm not going to count on it. And with this, I think we will get something around 100 to 120 gems, much like the secret rare is currently at 120 gems for the Eye of Agamotto, but that has a little bit of animation to go along with it, as well as the time stone. But the real reason why I'm really excited for this drop is that Vivi really listened when the Eye of Agamotto went out. It was released, and everybody said that 70 gems was just too expensive for just an object from the Marvel Universe. And they dropped that down 10 gems, and that might not seem like a lot, but I appreciate that personally. I appreciate what they are doing in terms of listening, as well as the edition sizes, much less than what we saw with the Eye of Agamotto. Two very important things that people brought up with that Eye of Agamotto drop, and I really appreciate that Vivi's listening to the community, and especially when they're dealing with Marvel, with Disney, to be able to drop these things, that must be really difficult for them to negotiate or even push those types of things for Marvel and for these NFTs. So that is greatly appreciated. I do still think that 60 gems is a little bit much for an object from the MCU, but I do appreciate the lower edition numbers for these. I do know many people are complaining about having 4 different Mjolnirs in one drop. I do agree with that. I do see why they might want to expand that into more collectibles to drop. I think we would have been good with just 2 Mjolnirs to be able to highlight the cracked one versus the complete solid edition one, and then 1 Stormbreaker, 3 to go with this 3 Eye of Agamottos that currently we have. The second thing that I've seen, and I talked about this with the Eye of Agamotto drop, and if we get a Doctor Strange collectible, perhaps there'll be some sort of interaction between the two. Could you imagine with Thor and Mjolnir, or even Stormbreaker, that there's some sort of animation or some sort of interactability between the two sometime when this drops, or sometime in the near future? That would be really cool. That always gets me excited to think about and to see. Vivi has done this in the past with the Matt Gondek drop, so I don't think that this is too hard to really imagine could happen sometime in the future. Let me know your thoughts, your comments in the comment section below. What do you think this is going to go for? Are you going for the drop, and are you excited about this drop? Do you disagree or agree with anything I say? Leave it in the comment section below. Like this video if you found it helpful for whatever reason, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching.